The Wayne Ayers Podcast. The Wayne Ayers Podcast. Woohoo! Time to wake your ass up for a blessed day.
Welcome to the podcast. How you doing?
Thank you.
You just want to talk about, your kind of journey in life and everything. I know you went to 3,000 colleges, and then now you're like...
Two.
No. But let's get started with that. Like, what made you even want to get started, like, in journalism?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say I always knew that I wanted to work in entertainment, but I didn't know like what aspect of it. I knew that I didn't really want to be like an actress. I couldn't sing, but I knew I still wanted to, music was always my passion. But I found journalism, I guess, because I was always like a writer. So English, writing classes, communication classes, that was always my strong classes. So journalism fell into that. I minored in journalism in undergrad. And it was just something I was good at. So the interview aspect of journalism obviously played a huge role. I started out doing local news, community news stories, and I just really loved telling people stories and loved writing about it. So it just felt, like something I was good at.
You went to like one of the like greatest colleges for journalism. I feel like everybody went to USC sometime in their life. That's like a journalist. Like how was that experience? Like I know and everybody. I feel like a lot of people I know went to USC for journalism.
Yeah, so USC has Annenberg Journalism Program, which is, like you said, one of the best journalism schools. And the reason is because the professors and the resources that are available to students once you're there. So my time there, my professors were people who had like real life worked in the industry. The dean of Annenberg is married to Bob Iger, CEO of Disney. So it's like, that's, a huge media company in itself. So for us to have access to certain resources and to have the training from different like professionals who knew what they were talking about and can give us real world experiences, and like also throwing internships our way, throwing job opportunities our way, like it was all direct connections while like letting us know what it takes to actually be in the field. So yeah, the program was very rigorous, is very like up there as far as like intensity, but it definitely taught me a lot of what I know now.
You went to Loyola Marymount before?
Yeah, so I went to LMU for undergrad, and that's where I did like communications and journalism.
So what do you think like the difference between like Loyola Marymount, like USC, like just even like just classes wise, like what were some of the differences that you guys did?
Yeah, well, the main thing, I guess, was that LMU is a much smaller school, and it was a lot smaller people in every class. Like my class sizes were only about 20, 30 people. So it was very hands-on in that sense. But USC, is a massive school, a lot more people. They have a football team, which is something that LMU didn't have. So it has a lot more school spirit. I felt like just very totally different experiences. And even though I was only at USC for 1 year for the grad program, I still felt like a Trojan. I still felt like part of the environment, just because there were so many people with so many things going on that it felt like a bigger network and a bigger community, as opposed to LMU, which was like more like one-on-one, I guess, with your professors and even with your classmates, but it wasn't like as big of a sense of community, if that makes sense.
So like after college, you like started do freelancing. Then now you kind of have your own business. Like, how does that feel?
Yeah, it's a good feeling. I love it here. It's probably one of the best things to come out of, my career journey so far. I feel like I've been working and preparing for this moment my whole life. I didn't really know like what it was going to take to get to this point, but I always knew what I wanted. Like I had a very corporate background, a very, school background, had a bunch of internships, had a professional career right after grad school, but then the pandemic hit, and that's where everything really changed for me as far as like being a content creator, doing my own interviews, posting content, and like literally once I started doing that, that's when a lot of doors opened for me.
So what are like some things that you were surprised about? Like, I feel like everybody that like freelance to like own their own company, like like have some certain like surprises or like just owning a business. Like, damn, I didn't know we had to do this and that from like a freelance like perspective.
I would say that I'm still learning things every single day. It's something that like you go into a business not necessarily knowing like what the next day will look like or what the next month will look like. So for me, I guess some of the challenges are like figuring out how to like battle those ups and downs, because it's not as glamorous as it seems. You have your moments where like you're not doing anything and you're trying to figure out what the next move is going to be. Like the point of a business is to keep growing it and figure out what the next step is going to be. So for me, I guess that's one of the things that I don't necessarily always like think about, especially when I first started it. But now that I'm getting into a flow of things, you kind of learn like what works, what doesn't, and where you want your company to go in like 5 years.
You just mentioned like I think I've experienced this too, like just being stuck and want to like continue or find a way to get like move forward. Like, what are like some steps that you took personally that helped you like move forward?
I think it really goes to like what am I trying to say? I think it's different for everybody. I think like you don't know what the best direction is for your business, honestly, until you take things day by day. Like you kind of have to go off of feedback and like really analyze different parts of your brand and kind of do your research, do your homework on like other companies and what they're doing well and how you can kind of implement that into your own brand strategy. So for me, I honestly do feel like I'm still taking things day by day. I know what works, I know what doesn't, and most importantly, I have a vision. So as long as you're kind of working towards that vision every day, it's more so about like staying consistent and seeing those results.
That's enough. So what do you have like for like another like piece of advice for somebody that's like wants to be like in like just journal like entertainment journalism? Because
Yeah, it's a hard industry to get into. You and I met when things were at kind of like the very beginning of my career when I met you. And I was not doing what I'm doing now. I was very much like in school, learning how to shoot, learning how to edit. So it does take learning like the baby steps. And it's not just something like you wake up and you're like this on camera personality one day. Like you really do have to learn the industry because there's a lot of work that goes into it, and I think that's something that it's very easy to like look at someone's career and see like how glamorized it may seem, but don't let it fool you. Like I've been working like these internships and these corporate positions, which really take a toll on your mental health. But especially being a woman and a Black woman in like a hip hop and R&B space, there's not too many of us, and being independent. So there's a lot that goes into it, but I guess the biggest piece of advice that I would say is to learn the industry, stay consistent, because you do have to put in the work, but it won't go unnoticed, if you're dedicated to it.
yeah, I remember like I actually one thing you're really good at is networking. I remember I forgot what it was. I think we all went to this like thing. It was like a party or something, and you were like talking to everybody, like, "Hey, my name is da, 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 da." So like, can you explain like the importance of networking? I think you're like really good at that.
That's so funny that you say that, because sometimes I used to think that I'm not good at it. Like I feel like I'm awkward sometimes, or I don't like going up to people, but
that's me. I'm terrible at networking. Like people know me off of my work. They're like, "Oh, wait, da da da." So thank God, because I don't want to have this work conversation with you.
No, I hate it. I hate it. And that was like in the beginning of everything, where I was just so eager and like hungry, I guess, to kind of, put my brand, put my name out there. And I had lost my job because of COVID. So it was like I was trying to just figure out what was next. And I know in this industry, networking is key. So, I guess yeah, it's not something that's like fun all the time because it's a lot of energy to be like drained, like going up to people and what do you do? Where are you from? Like it's just a whole spiel.
No,
But
no, yeah.
you know,
I totally agree with you. I honestly hate networking.
it's
I
like
love
in the beginning you have to, but once you kind of like, work your way up and establish yourself, it's like, all right, like I
no,
can
yeah,
chill.
I'm glad people are starting to know me. Like, yo, Wayne, I was like, thank God, I kind of want to have some weird ass conversation with you. Like, hey,
Yeah,
what's
it
your
gets to
name?
a point. It gets to a point where you're like, okay, I'll know at least one person here.
Yeah, yeah. I used to hate that shit so much. But
It's nerve-wracking.
no, yeah. Just what was I gonna ask you? About like hip hop. Like how where did you are you kind of you still want to do like movies? Like I know you used to do like still do movies and films. Like are you more like going to music ways or you want to still do music and film? I mean,
Yeah,
I
no.
said music. I said so.
Yeah, I think music has always been my passion. Film was hard for me when I did try. I used to do like red carpet premieres for TV shows and movies and that kind of stuff. And actors, there's so many of them. So they're so hard to like recognize. And I'm really bad with faces. So it would just be embarrassing for me, like moments on the carpet when publicists would come and be like, can you interview this person? And I'd like not know who they were. So with music, I feel like because I'm always listening to it, I'm always watching interviews, watching music videos, it's a little bit more second nature for me to kind of, be in the know and have it be part of my daily life than to like sit down, watch a 2-hour movie, watch, an actor's history and see like all the things that they've done versus, music is a little bit more like you can kind of hear someone's story and it's just more personal. So yeah, I think I've always been into music and that's kind of the direction I still want to go.
Who's like some of your favorite musicians that you interviewed so far?
That's a good question. Um honestly, I would say I love like ones that actually make an impact. Like so when I did Lotto, for example, she announced her name change with me. And that was really dope because it kind of just showed me the power of an interview. And that was like one of the first ones to really like go viral when I was working independently. So I would say she was one of my favorites just because,
Yo, love that. How does it feel to like have a interview that goes viral? Cause like it's so dope. But like how is that feeling like? Cause like I just want to like
it's the best. It's the best feeling. It feels like your work pays off, in a sense, especially in entertainment. That's the goal. The goal is to make headlines, or else why are these artists doing interviews in the first place? So I always try to have the conversation with an artist that like people actually care about and want to know things about, and like what's going to be something that people will retweet or share or post. And so that always goes into my head every time I do an interview because, it's my job.
was there like an artist that you interviewed? You're like, yo, I hope I don't ever interview them again. You don't have to mention their name, but just like, yes or no.
My fair share of dry interviews for sure, where it's like people answer in one word or just low energy the entire time. Or, we're doing an interview and they're just like, well, I can't really talk about that. But
I'm like, why'd you show up for this interview then?
but don't have anything else to talk about. So I'm like, yeah, I don't really like those type of interviews, but everyone has their days.
Have you done an interview and like somebody told you like, hey, we can't have this part in it, so you had to cut it out? I hate that shit. I'm like, yo, why?
I've had people try to like tell me beforehand, like, oh, we want to see questions or we want
It's
we
like
want to
why?
know.
Like, no, you know what this is. I know people probably reach out to you for interviews and then they be doing that shit. But you kind of know what our platform is. Like, why are you?
Yeah, I'm not a messy person, to be honest. I'm not like one of the messy gossip bloggers. I will say that, or I try not to be. But when it comes to like certain content, I don't know. I also feel like if something is trending around a certain topic, I'm gonna
You
talk
gotta ask
about
it.
it.
You gotta ask it.
Yeah,
I
I'm
mean,
gonna talk about
it's
it.
like your job. You really gotta ask it, and it'd be like
Yeah,
yeah.
can't
No,
be secretive the whole time.
so I know you like working with like up and coming independent artists. Like, how do you go about like picking them for like interviews? Do you just go by, oh, I think they're dope, or is it like certain other things?
Yeah. So in the beginning, I don't really do as many independent artist interviews right now. I'm kind of still in like a weird stage of building a new platform to do that, and finding a team. But in the beginning, I was hosting them on Instagram Live, and I would just do it based off of who I thought was dope. Like I would reach out and DM people and be like, oh, like this person, they're doing numbers, they have an audience. I think people would care about them. And it was just kind of a way to see like, whose audience is really gonna like engage with them. So absolutely based on talent, and also based on, people who are eager, people who would message me and want to work and have like material ready to go, ready to promote. So yeah, a little bit of both.
So who are some people you'd be listening to right now in music?
Right now, ooh, that's a good question. I would definitely say, you caught me off guard right now, because like listening to music is my job. So sometimes I do take breaks and I can't like listen to music for a couple of days because I'm like, it feels like work. But I'm not listening to a specific project. I really love like the Rap Caviar playlist on Spotify, or the Bay playlist on Spotify. Just a mix of hip hop, Gunna, some of my favorites, Doughboy, Babyface Ray. Like I really loved his last project that came out. Singles, Buddy and Blast. Like I listen to like good music when it comes out, and kind of like let myself find it organically.
You don't have like a favorite album from this year?
My favorite album from this year.
I know it's early.
It's early, but who dropped something? I'm trying to think.
Gunna dropped, Weekend dropped. I think, and I don't know how to pronounce. Choppa dropped. I'm not too.
Yeah. Okay. Gunna's project was actually pretty good. Gunna's project was actually really good. I listened to Dirk. I listened to Corday. Like it's a
Oh yeah, Corday. I like his project too.
Yeah.
I like that song with her and Dirk. I think it was Dirk on there. Yeah. That was a dope song. What do you think about that whole like situation with YoungBoy and Dirk from like the music? YoungBoy and Dirk.
I'm not into the beefs, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel like some of this shit is not unnecessary. Like, why are they?
I mean, rap beef has been a thing. Like, it's always been something that people do and care about. But personally, I can't keep up.
Yeah, no, I feel like they're like I saw like a little bit of it. I feel like they're escalating way too far. But like, do you see like other like when you see other bloggers or like journalists like kind of like highlighting that? Do you kind of feel some type of way about it? Because like, man, if these two people end up dead, like.
No, I don't. I mean, I don't think it's, anybody's responsibility or burden to carry if shit happens, but I do think that like it's a space, like people talk about it, like there's definitely an audience for it, and people are going to discuss it. So
I mean, not like discuss it, but you know how people try to like hype it up and like da 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 da. Like,
oh okay, yeah.
Like, no, of course you can discuss it, but like people be in there like trying to instigate it more, or hype it up, or like it's like it doesn't need to be necessary like that.
I think there's a time and space for that. People do it, of course. I'm not one to really do that because I don't really care that much. But people like to insert themselves into things. These are public figures at the end of the day. So people are always going to have like an opinion or something to say about it. And whether or not, they choose to look at it and do something about it, that's on them,
I feel you. So who's like somebody you really want to interview like this year? Like if you could just interview them. Like just somebody like, yo.
I'm trying to interview Kanye.
You should have went to the brunch.
I was in Mexico.
No, you should have went to. Actually, that brunch wasn't too bad. It was weird. It's definitely weird. Like I was like, why are we all in this triangle in this dark?
But did people like talk to him, or like what was happening?
Yeah, anybody could have walked up to him and talked to him.
Wow.
No, yeah, he was actually really cool. Antonio Brown was there. Yeah, he was cool.
I had a representative on behalf of REMIXD Mag that was there, so Yeah, I wanted to go.
They didn't talk to Kanye? He was actually really friendly with people. I'm not gonna lie.
Did you talk to him?
I was like in a group of people,
Mhm.
like we're all just talking to him.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
But I feel
Yeah.
like he could have anybody could just went up to him like individually talk to him. He probably would. Cause like I think Kanye is just one of the people that would talk to anybody.
Yeah, I remember seeing like his little LA stunts a couple months ago where he was outside and everybody was taking pictures with him.
No, yeah, I find like if you just get on his radar, he'll probably do like, oh yeah, okay, cool, let's do it.
Yeah, I want
Yeah.
to. I want to. It's definitely on my list, especially because I feel like he's outside this year. So I feel like it's definitely attainable. Let's speak it into existence.
What do you think about Donda 2 not dropping on time?
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
How do you feel about like the STEM player thing? 'Cause I actually thought that was like cool for like bigger artists. I kind of like I want to see like a bigger artist like yo, like hey, we're gonna go this indie route. 'Cause I kind of feel like artists kind of get cheaped off of like streamings and all this other stuff. Like the only way they can really like make money is off of really like merchandise or like going on tour and stuff like that. So like, what do you
Yeah,
thought? What was your thoughts about that?
it's innovative for sure. I think he didn't want to do it through the DSPs for whatever reason. So gotta get creative. And he has a fan base and audience enough of people who will buy it and who will use it. So I thought it's creative. I don't expect anything less from Kanye, honestly. Like at this point, nothing he does really surprises me anymore. But it's cool.
What do you think like the music future of music gonna be like? Do you think more artists will go like the indie route or they're gonna still want to get signed to a record label?
That's an interesting perspective. And I've been seeing this conversation on Twitter in the last few days, and people are basically like, like you see how Kanye, he didn't attack the labels early on. Like he, paid them a lot of respect and just always believed in himself. And people were like, no, he definitely like tried to sue Rock Nation eventually and came out basically saying fuck the labels. So there's a lot of, controversy behind it. But it's an interesting question because I think there's a lot that goes into the choice of do you want to be signed to a label or do you want to stay independent? Being independent is a lot of work. And I think it's important for people to understand that versus when you are signed to a label, you have a team of people who, if you're lucky, you have a good team of people who are invested in your career and can help you, a machine behind the music in exchange for money, percentages. Like that's how it works. But it's possible like to be independent. You just have to be smart and you just have to have a smart team around you. And if you do things the right way, it's definitely doable, but it's hard.
Another thing you do, you also host the Rolling Loud. How did that even come about? Because I was like, oh, that's really dope. I'm happy to see you could do that. That was dope.
Thank you. Yeah, that was wild. They actually like emailed me randomly, the production team, and it was
Oh,
like from a Gmail account. And so I thought it was fake because the subject was like, hey, do you want to host Rolling Loud? And I'm like, I just ignored it because I'm like, who is this random Gmail account trying to like scam me right now? I never responded. And then the next day, I looked into it and I just messaged them back and I'm like, what if it's real? I messaged them back and I'm like, hey, yeah, sure. Can we hop on a call maybe to discuss some details? And they're like, yeah, like for sure, give us a call at this number. So it was so sketch, like no official meeting, no nothing. But I called the number and they were like, hey, yeah, so we found your interviews on YouTube and we basically want you to host Rolling Loud in New York next month. And I'm like, wait, really? Like, that's really dope. And he's like, yeah, like we're the production team behind it. I know I emailed you from a Gmail account, so it probably looked, super scammy, but that wasn't the case. Like we want you to do it. So we'll be getting on a call the next couple of weeks to discuss, hotel and ticket and all of that. And yeah, I was like, okay. Like
that's dope.
I still was kind of like in disbelief, but I remember I screenshotted like the email and I sent it to my best friend and I was like, is this real right now? Like I was freaking out.
No, that's dope. Like, so are you just doing it for like now on? Like that's gonna be like, or is it like sometimes or?
I mean, yeah, so I did New York and I did LA, and there's nothing like official set in stone for the next ones, but I'm hoping, that something comes about from that. Like, I feel like because me and the other co-hosts have such great chemistry, we did the last few together and it turned out really well. The team was really happy with the content that came out of it. And I just feel like, it's only bigger and better from here. So yeah, fingers crossed.
Is there like another like festival you would like to like host if you could?
Shit, all of them. All of them. This is my lane, this is my like area of expertise. Like this is what I love to do. So smoking grooves, Coachella, like I would love to do more festivals, South by Southwest, do panels, anything music related, like I'm there. I want to do interviews, I want to do content, I just want to have fun and really like put out, add value to whatever team may need that, as a content producer.
That's dope. That's dope. But are you doing Roots and Picnic Festival? Cause I saw the lineup for that. I was like, yo, this looks dope as hell.
Yeah, no, I don't know. So the thing with all these festivals is that they're all super last minute when it comes to media.
No, facts.
Like literally sometimes I don't find out about things the week before. And I think it was the same situation with Rolling Loud. Like I didn't get confirmed for everything until literally like 2 weeks before
It's
the
literally,
festival.
I just did Lost in Rhythm. I think they approved us like 3 days before the festival. I'm like, bro,
Yeah, yeah.
I said, what are y'all? But every festival is at least like, I think the like best festival I got was what's it called? The Broccoli
Broccoli
Festival.
City Fest. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, they approved us like a month out. I was like, yo, you guys are like the best festival. Like,
Yeah, that's like unheard of, honestly, these days.
yeah, like Coachella, everything would be like maybe 2 weeks out. Everything else is like a week out or like a couple of days out.
Yeah, no, for
And
sure.
then like I remember doing Lost and Rhythm Festival. It was like,
Taking a
okay,
picture.
I don't even think I don't think we're gonna do this. And then they're like, okay, yeah, you guys are approved. I said, y'all fucking serious? And then you don't want to like book hotels and everything because it's like, okay, I want to make sure I'm going. But then you go book the hotels, they like 3 times as much as the thing and everything. I say, yo,
Yeah. That's one thing. Festivals need to get their media together
no,
sooner.
yeah, I feel you on that. It's like, yo, how do you feel like media gets treated? I feel like we get treated like shit sometimes. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
like in the whole, even like with films and everything, I was like, yo, we get treated like shit.
That could be the case a lot of times. So I did notice a difference, like when I was on camera talent as opposed to being a reporter. And when you're talent, you get treated a little better in terms of like being escorted inside of event, making sure you have everything you need to get started. And the difference is having like a production team that is readily available for you to use. And so that was, one thing I really loved about working with Rolling Loud is because, I really got to focus on the content and be talent, not necessarily like media who I had to come up, with my own equipment and the story and, hunt down the interviews myself. It was pretty much like, okay, we have a content plan that we know what we want. And it was a lot more organized that way. So, I've been on both ends of the stick now where I have like been in the press pit and having to like do a lot to try and get interviews, and that's the part. It's not fun, but I think when you have like a content calendar, like a team who already kind of knows the content they want, and your job is to literally like do research and conduct an interview, that's the part I like doing.
I have I have like a pitching question. Like, how do you like pitch, like for somebody that wants to like do interviews with all these different people, like how do you like pitch to get them on, like, hey, to come do an interview? Like, how do you pitch them to come do an interview?
I think what I'm learning, it's still something I'm learning, but you have to really like have something to offer them, because this day and age, anyone can go on social media and like say anything. So what's the value of coming to your platform? What's the reach? What's the audience that you have? Why should they do it with you versus some other person on the internet, And I think that comes from like establishing your brand as what kind of content do you regularly put out, because people see that, publicists see that, labels see it. So if you're able to like associate your brand with dope interviews where every single time you're putting out content, it's always dope, it's going to get some hits, some views, clicks. And that's kind of, the reason that I started doing, I got very picky with my interviews, because now I want all the interviews that I do to be like hard hitting, like to make sense, to go viral essentially, because that's what makes sense for my brand. I'm trying to like be at a place where people want to break their news with me. They want to talk to me specifically about like what they have going on. So I'm still in the process of like trying to build that. And I think it just starts with being like selective about the content that you do and the interviews that you do. So, but number one is just to create the content in the first place.
That's dope. I know you have a show, right? Are you doing a show? Are you like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's a good question though, for me too, just because I did have a show. REMIXD Mag was a podcast at one point, and I was recording interviews, but I never released any of them because I'm kind of a perfectionist when it comes to my own content, unfortunately, and I didn't like how they looked. So I'm gonna redo everything, not like the same content, but I just wanted to come up with like a different style of how I want to shoot the content. Like I just kind of, after shooting maybe 3 or 4 episodes, I was just like not happy with how it was looking. So I'm like, I just want to redo everything. And that's part of it. It's trial and error as far as like, okay, I don't like how this looks, but I tried it. So I'm going to do something different.
No, and I feel you on that. I should be the same way. Still kind of am, still kind of not. I don't.
Yeah. At the end of the day, though, like it's self-sabotage to not put out content that you create, because at the end of the day, like post your content and go. Post your content and go, because nobody's thinking twice as hard about it as you are. And you really have to just do it. Like that's gonna hold you back forever if you don't. So yeah.
No, I used to be the same way. Then I was like, people just didn't even care. They just like, yo, we just happy to see you. Like
yeah.
It really be like that. I really like fans. Like I remember I think I like stopped doing a podcast for almost a year. And people were like, yo, we don't care how you shoot it, we just want to see you with And now it's like, okay, cool. People like really.
Yeah. I think that's the thing. That's the thing, that we can get a lot in our heads about, does it look good? Is it going to be good? Are people going to like it? There's a lot of pressure as content creators, but I think you just got to put it out.
No, yeah, they definitely just, people just definitely just want to see you and see who you're talking to and
Yeah, I did post a reel the other day where I'm like, okay, like I gotta give people something.
What's the importance of a reel? Can I yet to make one?
So somebody had asked me for a reel actually a couple days ago, and it occurred to me that I only had one from college, and it was like my reporting reel, but it was a lot of like local hard news stuff, not really entertainment. But the importance of it, and this is like from what my professors kind of explained to me, corporate, organizations too will ask for it, but it kind of is meant to highlight like some of your best moments. So even though people can go on YouTube and search your name, they're realistically not going to watch every single interview that you've done, even the ones with like the most views. And it's a reel is kind of like your opportunity to highlight your own moments, so that you're like presenting your best foot forward, and people don't even need to kind of watch an interview to see what kind of questions you ask, how you interact with people, what kinds of people have you been with, and what kinds of opportunities have you had. So a reel showcases that in, like a little 5-minute highlight, so that if people come across my page and this is the only thing that they see, they'll see, oh, she did Rolling Loud. Oh, she interviewed Polo G. Oh, she did DDG. Oh, they talked about this. Oh, she's funny. Like she has high energy. So those are things that, I want people to get from watching my interviews. So I try to highlight like, some of those moments.
That's good. I need to make one.
You got to make one. You got to make one.
I don't even know what to add to it.
Just like literally your best moments. Some of your best interviews.
I would have to go. I'm not even trying to go down that like whole.
I mean, I paid somebody. You can pay somebody to do it. Pay an
I know,
editor.
but I just feel bad for them. Like, yo, they're gonna have to go. Like, when did I start? Like 2018. Like, no, that's gonna be deep. And I did panels, and that's. I
Make
might
it
do it.
recent. Make it a recent reel of like from the last year. Doesn't have to be everything you've ever done.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I only been doing this podcast. For people, no, like I give everybody else like stuff on Where's the Buzz. It's just like something I really want to do. Like I did the Batman interview, so I was like, yeah, I'm definitely doing that. But everybody else, I just like, how you guys go? I got my own podcast. I'll do the interviews on the podcast.
Yeah.
No, you definitely gotta bring back a podcast. I think podcasting is hella fun. I'm not gonna lie.
So stressful.
I know, like it really is. Like for me, kind of like doing like guests every week as a dad, like you gotta manage your own business and do all this other stuff, and then you're like, damn, I gotta do this damn podcast.
And it's so stressful, but I love it because that's it is a part of me and who I am and what I do. So I want to bring it back, but I'm just too much of a perfectionist and I hate it. And
even just audio, people just go listen to it. Like I just started doing the visuals on Spotify, but like even audio, people just like love. Like people really like, yo, I love your podcast. It's like it's cool. Like you're like, okay, do I have it? Cause I remember like, should I even come back with it? And then you get like all these messages like, yo, you gotta bring back the podcast. And then people, like, I feel like there's like a different like connection like between like podcasting and just doing like interviews on like say like a red carpet or like sit down interviews or something else. Like people really, like they feel like it's, I don't know if it's like an experience or something. Oh, it is experience.
You're
but
right.
Yeah. But people
it stresses me out like having to go through the content. Like I literally will do an interview and I won't watch it again because I'm like, all right, it's done. It's over. I said what I said.
That's me. I kind of do that. I do that all the time. I don't ever watch my interviews.
I don't watch all my old interviews.
It's weird for me.
That's why I have a highlight reel because I'm like best moments. That's it.
And I kind of feel like during the interview, like if you made a mistake someplace, you like okay, you kind of like mark it in your head, like all right,
exactly, and you don't want to watch it. And you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna always make mistakes. So
no, but this was one. I think I did a podcast. Some person like went off on me. They're like da 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 da. I was like, okay, they like listed like 10 things they didn't like about it. So I was like, okay, let me go rewatch the episode. Okay, they kind of right. So I could do that. So I always treat the criticism too. Like, hey, you got to do this. Let me go check this out.
Yeah.
Have you ever got like one of those criticisms? They're like, damn, why you go in on you like that?
No.
You haven't got one? Oh, you're lucky, man. Oh, you doing your job right there. I'm like, what?
I mean, I definitely had like some hater shit in my messages, but
no, like everybody gets hater shit. But I'm talking about you like, damn, like they kind of like because the way they started off, it was like on some hater shit, but then they started listing down some shit. Like, okay, they really took their time out their day to like write like 10 paragraphs for me. I was like, okay, let me go check it out.
Yeah, bro. People try to tell you about yourself. It's like, what? Who are you?
And I hate when people would be trying to tell you like what to do and stuff. Like, why don't you go start your own shit?
Yeah, and I'm all for constructive criticism and feedback. It's just like don't be rude, like don't be rude, especially when you're so public about your craft. Like criticism is honestly, it sucks, but like I wish people were more sensitive to that. Like just learn how to be nice.
No, people do not care. No, it's cool though. It's cool. It's whatever. We all live.
You learn. You gotta have tough skin.
So what do you see yourself like continue? Like what's something you really want to do? Do you want to have like your own show like Oprah did? Or do you want to see like for me, you kind of remind me like a Angie Martinez like right now.
People like, say that.
Yeah, like you kind of remind me like because I feel like once these like younger artists start popping and stuff, because your interview like the younger generation, like you're gonna be like their like go-to person for interviews like in 5 to 10 years.
I would hope so. That would be like the goal, if people can come to me and the platform and be like, yeah, like, and I would love to be like, yeah, remember this interview we did 5 years ago, but the goal is to definitely like continue to have my own shit and yeah, I don't know. I think that's the one thing too about entertainment is like there's no like straight path, you literally have to figure it out as you go. Had you asked me last year, did I know I was going to do Rolling Loud? No, I would have never honestly imagined that. So I'm excited, for what the future holds. Is really unpredictable, but I just know, one thing that's for sure is hard work like pays off and consistency pays off. So I'm gonna just keep doing that, and whatever opportunities come my way, come my way.
Would you like if somebody like offered you to do like a radio show? Like, would you do one of those? Kind of like people like do like they'll go do like a radio show or like I know you're hosting events and everything, like, and then they'll go back to doing like their own stuff like on their spare time. Would you be interested in do like one of those things?
I'm not opposed. I'm not opposed to it at all. I think it just has to make sense for me. It has to be the right situation as far as like what kind of content am I going to be talking about? Are y'all paying me? Like those things, matter.
Okay, dope. Well, I appreciate you talking to me.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, no problem. But no, keep doing your thing. I see you killing it. So yeah.
Thank you.